I'm a physical therapist and we treat patients here daily. We perform functional testing and treatment of musculoskeletal injuries.
It's interesting when you talk to a lot of people who ended up in physical therapy, a lot of times there's a personal experience with it.
I dislocated both my shoulders in high school and went through therapy myself. And it always intrigued me the fact that they got me back to full function and I took no medication, I had no surgery, there was no invasive treatment. And that always stayed in the back of my mind until I went to college and realized this is what I wanted to do.
Ended up with a knee surgery at 15, a knee surgery at 16, a knee surgery at 17. My parents lived in the country. We didn't have very good access to physical therapy services, so after the surgeries I would have to, of course, go to physical therapy and didn't have the ability to go 3 times a week like we would typically see. So I would go work with the therapist and then learn what to do, and then I would have to do it on my own at home. Obesity, I mean, it's an epidemic in America right now, and we're seeing a lot of patients with obesity-related problems. In my knee replacement patients, I'm sure 93% of them are 100 pounds overweight. You're carrying around just so much extra weight on your body, and it creates wear and tear of your joints, your knees, your ankles, your hips, your lower back, and this wear and tear happens over many years. So it's a very slow, insidious wear and tear where the individual ends up with severe joint degeneration that ends up causing problems for them. A lot of questions we get, I want to start an exercise program, what should I do? What I tell people, when you're starting an exercise program, do about half of what you think you should do. Or if it's been a really long time, do about 20% of what you think you should do. Reward yourself for the success of that day, give yourself a pat on the back, and then make sure you're not having any symptoms that are starting that are unusual. And then when you're exercising, you hear the term no pain, no gain. Pain means, muscle fatigue, you're tired, it hurts to get out that next half mile or that next set versus the flat out pain where something just out and out hurts. That's your body telling you, hang on a second, you got to stop, take assessment of what's going on. Posture is huge. So, one interesting thing, and this is a try at home for the people who are watching this. Now, if you're very young and you're very fit and you're very flexible, you'll do this and you won't think anything of it. But if it's been a while since you've been doing any activities or you have an office-based job where you're sitting a lot looking at a computer, take a yoga mat or take a hard floor, something that's not too soft, and lay down on your back. And can you get everything to touch the ground? You may find that it's hard to get your shoulders on the ground because your back is rounded out from sitting in front of that computer. Hard to get your head and your neck on the ground. Hard to get the back of your knees on the ground. And then you end up losing motion in different areas. So if you sit in front of a computer all day long, eventually you kind of get stuck here. And you're walking around like this now because you've actually lost the ability to sit up tall. So by taking stock every once in a while, laying on a hard surface, seeing can everything get on the floor, you'll find out exactly where you're tight, and it's amazing.
General advice or when to look for treatment or when to look for therapy or a few things. Look, let's be honest, we all get pain at some point in our life. We all twist an ankle. Does that necessarily mean you need to race to the doctor? Not necessarily.
Anytime that you're having problems with pain, where it's inhibiting your ability to do normal daily functions, basic things like eating, cooking, dressing, cleaning.
Stopping you from sleeping. Is it progressively getting better or worse? Those are some of the things that I tell folks to look for whether you think you need to seek treatment or not.
One of the nice things that drew me to physical therapy is it's going to be a very, very detailed examination of you. Generally, we're going to spend a solid hour with you. We're going to look at you, from head to toe, but also focusing on your area of complaint and really try and figure out exactly what's going on.
Just like a physician, we're going to do a musculoskeletal evaluation, determine do you need further diagnostic testing before we initiate treatment, or is it something safe for us to progress into active physical therapy treatment, or do we need additional diagnostic testing? The main goal, it really is, from my perspective, independence. I love building relationships with my patients, but I don't necessarily want them to be coming to me weekly for the rest of their life.
We do a very hands-on evaluation. There are very certain physiological, biomechanical markers that we will see on an individual that indicates where the problem is coming from.
We do have folks that tend to have more chronic issues that we do see intermittently on a repetitive basis, but my goal would be to have someone achieve their goals, become pain-free, return to their maximum level of function, and have tools and techniques that when things flare up, they can potentially treat themselves.
Sometimes when as the process of our examination, we realize we need additional diagnostic tests. And that's when we'll refer out to a qualified medical provider to get something done like an MRI, an X-ray, maybe a nerve conduction study. For example, somebody who's got a lot of pain in their calf, a lot of swelling, a lot of redness, well, maybe that's a blood clot. So that's something that we're not going to treat that person. We're going to rapidly refer them out to the appropriate medical provider. Some of my favorite, though, are the people who come in with back pain, pain into the buttocks, potentially down the leg, but their MRI is completely normal. Some of the medical providers are throwing their hands up in the air and going, I don't know what to do with this. Send them to physical therapy. And those ones I love because I say, we're going to get bragging rights on this one because I have a good idea where this is coming from. And it's usually related to their pelvis, related to maybe some muscles in that area without going into too much detail. And those are the fun ones because nobody knows where it's coming from, and then we get them better, and usually, anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. It just depends how long it's been there for.
The enjoyment for me when I have a patient come in that the doctor's talking about doing back surgery, shoulder surgery, knee surgery, doing injections, and in 3-4 weeks they're 100% resolved and surgery is no longer required, and that's quite gratifying for me.
The ability to help people is incredibly gratifying, and just you get this really one-on-one interaction with your patients, and when you make a difference in people's lives, that's huge. In order to get in touch with us, so you can go to our website, www.isrphysicaltherapy.com, and each of the 3 locations are located there with telephone numbers and fax numbers, etc. And very easy to call us. You can book an appointment. We will do a very, very detailed examination on you, typically spending an hour with you, and to see if you're, number one, if you're an appropriate individual for physical therapy, and then we'll proceed from there.